Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Coming up tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We'll be watching this strong cold front with heavy rains and strong winds. The lake effect snows will be getting underway. Windy and cold conditions in the south. The rest of the country is mostly quiet. We're going to talk about all of that tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, and that's at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's go right to the satellite loop, and you can see this strong front, a lot of clouds, and a lot of moisture pouring up the eastern seaboard, a deep trough to our west that runs north to south from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf Coast and lifting northeastward. And you can see the rotation back in the Great Lakes, a lot of energy here, and all that moisture still has to play through. The front seems to be slowing down, at least for now. And that is probably going to mean that the rain's going to last a little bit longer. Certainly, the rains have been substantial. Many areas have already picked up up to a couple of inches, and we could easily see maybe another inch or so on top of it. And the radar, as of 3 o'clock Eastern time, is pretty well loaded right through all of New England, down into the mid-Atlantic states. We've got some strong thunderstorms in eastern North Carolina. We have patches of heavy rains moving through Maryland and Delaware, also in northeastern Pennsylvania up into the Catskills. And then just offshore, we have some heavy rains and some thunderstorms, and a lot of that is crossing Long Island and on up into southern New England. Lake effect snows have already gotten underway in parts of western Michigan. This is where we have winter storm warnings up in both the lower peninsula on the shores coming off Lake Michigan and on the upper peninsula along the shores of Lake Superior. Lake effect snow warnings, southwestern New York as well as north central New York. We've got flash flood watches up for a good portion of interior New England. And of course, along the coast, we're dealing with wind advisories and even some high wind warnings. So I've seen some gusts of 40 to 45 miles per hour over parts of Long Island and into southeastern New England. That is going to continue into tonight. The winds are generally a little lower inland areas, gusting to about 30 or so, but there'll probably be some stronger gusts as we go into this evening and its front plays on through. We do have a risk for severe weather going into this evening. The Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk from southern and southeastern New England, back through Long Island to New York City and New Jersey, right down the coast into the Carolinas. And some of that also has some tornado risk in it for eastern North Carolina and a small portion of southeast Virginia. 5% tornado risk there. The 2% line moves up right about to the Delaware state line on the Delmarva Peninsula. And as far as additional rainfall is concerned, this begins after 8 o'clock, after 7 o'clock tonight. So this will be on top of whatever's has fallen through this late afternoon. Looking at an inch and a half plus from Massachusetts down into eastern Connecticut and eastern Long Island. Elsewhere, it's anywhere from another 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a quarter. We also see some rains from a system down the road in a couple of days in the central Gulf states, where we're looking at inch and a half to 2 inch amounts, and heavy rains for the western part of the U.S., mainly from San Francisco northward up towards Seattle, and mostly near coastal areas where we're looking at 6 inches or more for Northern California, several inches of rain for coastal Oregon and Washington, and also some heavy precip in the Sierra Nevadas, and that'll probably come with some very heavy snows. So here's the short range HRRR model, the latest run. You can see these patches of heavy rains and thunderstorms, and we'll have to watch the radars to see if a squall line develops. Then the winds shift around. This is at 10 o'clock tonight. The back edge of the rain is just about to New York City and then moves on out to the east. By 1 a.m., it's cleared Boston. And then, of course, we've got that lake effect happening off the shores of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. That's going to go on through the day on Thursday. And we've got some cold weather, no question, for the next couple of days. Temperatures for Thursday won't be getting out of the 30s. We'll be down in the teens and and low 20s Friday morning, not out of the 30s again on Friday. The cold goes all the way down into Florida, and then the high goes out on Saturday into New England. I think the weekend's going to be dry. Here comes this next low that is in Kansas and heading eastward. Not really a whole lot to that. There'll be an area of showers that might come in late Sunday night, early on Monday. Then a stronger low to the Great Lakes will probably bring some rain or showers late Tuesday into the first part of Wednesday. So we're going to cover this all tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. So be sure to tune in at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time.